Howdy. Welcome back to the top 10 albums of Metallica. Continuing with our penultimate pick, we have Master of Puppets, released in 1986. Your top tracks are going to be Battery, Master of Puppets, and Disposable Heroes. Today, we are dealing with one of the most influential albums to ever be released, not just for metal music, but for music entirely. I would not blame you if this album was number one on your list. It was number one for me for the longest time. Over recent years, though, I had to bump it down to number two, but that does not diminish the talent that's on display in this record. Let's go ahead and talk about that talent today. My name is TJ Stevens, and this is Master of Puppets. Kicking things off with the beautiful opener that is Battery. There's a lot of things that can be said about Battery. It's probably their best opener for any album. It's probably their hardest song, especially as a band. To be in sync with this track is mind-blowingly difficult, and that goes double for the drums. This whole album is going to give you a workout. Even if the songs aren't incredibly fast, Lars is still performing with just a huge amount of energy with this record, and a lot of that energy is on display, ironically, with Battery. The opening acoustic guitar harmonies that we hear that's accompanied by those heavy drums is one of the most beautiful pieces of music that I've ever heard, and how it transitions to the heavy assault that is being put on display for your ears is just nothing short of amazing. Battery, it kind of speaks for itself. You don't need to say much. Once somebody hears the word Battery and they know you're talking about Metallica, they're like, hell yeah. Everybody fucks with Battery. It had to be played. It had to be played at a lot of their shows. They've gotten older, and this song it's never gotten easier. They actually end up skipping the bridge a lot of the times when they play it live, and I hate it because it's such a beautiful bridge that goes into that incredible solo, one of Kirk's many iconic solos on this album. Kirk Hammett was just on another level. Every member of the band was on another level when recording Master of Puppets. But for Battery, my favorite part is whenever we get to the double bass, the continuous double bass. Double bass is prevalent throughout this album. Lars splices it in very meticulously, and I think he does a good job. But for Battery, once he lets loose and you get that one, I believe they call it a stabbing riff, whenever it goes, bah, 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 and Lars is going crazy with the double bass. One of the biggest highlights of this album that is just polluted with awesome highlights. So Battery, there's no other way to start this record. One of my favorite songs, top 10 easily Metallica songs ever, and I can't get enough for it. If you're looking for a workout with any instrument, singing, guitar, bass, especially drums, you want to check out Battery. It's going to give you a workout. Moving on from a top 10 Metallica song to a top 5 Metallica song, we have the title track, Master of Puppets. Now listen, I would like to give a huge shout out to Stranger Things and Eddie for putting this song back on the map. And I recently looked at a reaction video. I used to love reaction videos, especially back when the Drake and Kendrick beef happened. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but when that happened, I was so big into reaction videos and how people dissect songs. I recently watched a dissection of Master of Puppets whenever it got big from Stranger Things, and seeing so many people really focus in on the lyrics of this song, I just love to see it. The lyrics of this song, probably James's best work when it comes to the pen. Master of Puppets, it can be about drugs. It usually is about drugs, but with James, it's really the feeling of being hopeless and just, not having any help. And the master is one of your crutches that you use to sustain your life. But for me, it's always going to be about drugs. The master is the drug and you are the puppet. One of the most beautiful things that I saw when people are reacting to this, I saw a comment that said, this song is broken up into like 4 parts. It's 8 minutes, right? So you get 2 minutes for each part. But one is the dealing with drugs and like trying to find it, that heavy first half. Then whenever it gets to the angelic bridge, beautiful is not even the right word. Once we get to that angelic middle part, that's either the high taking place or you coming down from the high. I like to think that that is the high, that euphoric feeling that you get from listening to that bridge right before the solo is just, it's like being on drugs. They always say that music is, people say music is my drug. That's the example right there, is that middle part of Master of Puppets. And then, of course, whenever it starts building up, whenever he says, all I hear or see is laughter, that to me is you coming down. Whenever that high is, you're getting too high, right? And now things are starting to get scary. That's whenever things start to fall apart. And then the last verse and whatnot, just basically the drug mocking you, being like, hey, I rule you too now. You are my property. Obey your master. And for him to really get these themes of being hopeless and translate to that, to words that people, a large group of people coming from different backgrounds, can easily identify with and understand, that's just mastery of your craft. Pardon the pun. Being a master of your craft. James it's just so ahead of his time. The fact that they all did this, right out of their 20s, 21, 2, 23, whatever, just blows my mind. Master of Puppets. I'm just talking about the lyrics. I barely even talked about like the instrumentation, but you know it. I think everybody knows at this point. Bam, 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 bam. A fucking demon to play on guitar when it comes to down picking. And not even just that, the solo. If one isn't my favorite guitar solo, Master of Puppets is definitely one of my favorites. It's probably the hardest. No, I'll take that back. We'll save that for a later time, but it's definitely difficult. And it's one of my favorite solos of all time and one of my favorite songs of all time. It's a perfect song for me. It's a perfect song. It's long. It's weird time signature wise. I don't even want to get into it. Like, I'm not even going to try to explain it. I'll post a picture about like the time signatures and how it switches up. It's really fucking weird, but it works. It works so well. It works so well that you can say that about Metallica a lot of times. They're weird, but it fucking works. And this song definitely works. So Master of Puppets, I can't say anything more that you probably don't know already. Just check it out if you haven't, or just give it a spin another time. It's worth the listen. It's Master of Puppets. Come the fuck on. So after that, we come to our third track, a big old fat motherfucker named The Thing That Should Not Be. Now listen, man, I did not care for this song a lot whenever I was growing up. I love that ominous as shit opening riff, that dun 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 dun. I always loved that riff. It was the rest of the song that I couldn't really resonate with, I guess. But as I got older, and especially realizing the I guess tribute to H.P. Lovecraft, a lot of these lyrics are taken from his work or inspired by his work, I found a new appreciation for this song. And one thing that kind of got amplified is just how fucking heavy this track is. This is a heavy ass song. It's the reason why Jason called it a big old fat motherfucker, because it is. It's fat, it's thick, it's everything that you want in a heavy ass song. The Thing That Should Not Be, man, I never gave it the time of day growing up. I feel bad about that now, but it would always be the one low spot, or one of the lone spots of this album. I wouldn't really pay too much attention to it, but nowadays it just fits right in. This record needs The Thing That Should Not Be, and it's just an awesome title. The Thing That Should Not. It reminds me of one of those old B movies, those science fiction B movies back in the 50s. They have like giant tarantulas, Creature of the Black Lagoon, all that stuff. The Thing That Should Not Be always reminds me of that. One of the lyrics that I think is taken directly from H.P. Lovecraft is stranger eons, even death may die. I always love that set of words. And they say that in South Park. Whenever you figure out Mysterion's true identity, there's like it's a whole thing. I'm going off topic, kind of. But they say it in there, and I'm always going to have those words embedded in my head. At some point, death has to die. When time becomes meaningless, that's when death will die. But yeah, Stranger Eons, Even Death May Die. For some reason, those just always stuck with me. And these lyrics are very ominous, very dark. And hey, what else would you expect from this album? A lot of themes are very dark when it comes to this record. A lot of themes of aggression and insanity. Oh, speaking of insanity, let's get to that right now. Track number 4, Welcome Home, parentheses, Sanitarium. A legendary track. And it's probably like the best example of Metallica really maturing as musicians and as songwriters. More importantly, as songwriters. Because the dynamics of this song it's great. It's perfect. Starts off slow, gets heavy, gets even more heavier. These are Metallica staples that we're talking about. And Welcome Home is definitely a Metallica staple. Having to do with, if you ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson, it's basically what this song is about. It's about, a guy who's in the, an insane ward, and he feels like he doesn't belong here. And he's, trapped in with a bunch of other mentally sick people, but he feels like he's fine. What I always like to interpret as he thinks he's fine, like he just believes that he's normal, but he's not. His actions say something else, but he just doesn't acknowledge those actions, and that's why he's in that sanitarium. Just a beautiful song, not even just with the lyrics, but sonically it's beautiful. Whenever we get to that "Just Leave Me Alone" part, and it goes to that banat, and he says, "Dream of living on, needless getting reckless now." Oh man, one of the best pieces of music ever. And it's funny because that riff always reminds me, I think it's Helena by the Misfits. They have very similar bridges whenever it comes to that part. Very similar, especially on the guitar, and some melody lines that seem to mirror each other. But just for the record, this song came out first. So no Mustaine situation here. I don't think they took anything from the Misfits. We'll just call that a happy coincidence. But Welcome Home Sanitarium, legendary song. I can't explain it more than I need to. Just listen to the damn thing. It's awesome. Bitch, we got Disposable Heroes. Man, oh man, let me tell you, my number one all-time, without a doubt, favorite Metallica song ever. I don't know why. It's been like that ever since I heard it back in the summer of 2009, and it just gotten better and better with each listen. It has everything you want. It has everything I want for a Metallica song. It has the length, right? We're just well over 8 minutes, right? We have bitchin' solos. We have amazing lyrics, amazing bridges, amazing composition, just awesomeness galore. I cannot get enough of this song. I really love that main rhythm riff, that the way that it fits in with everything. You got Cliff coming in on the bass, very subtly, but still kind of sexy at the same time. The lyrics, funny enough, right? The lyrics, you can read the lyrics, you can listen to the song, you'd be more than acceptable to believe that this song is about war. It's about a young man going into war. But ironically, this song was inspired by football. Yeah, James was watching a football game, and one of the announcers just called one of the old beaten up, broken down players, they're just a bunch of disposable heroes, cogs in the machine. Take them out, replace them with a new one. That's where he got the inspiration from. I was just mind blown when I figured out that information, because I was like, I was pretty damn sure this song was just about war, All Quiet on the Western Front, I believe the movie is called. That's what it always reminded me of. That's what those lyrics kind of mirrored in that situation. But no, it was more of a combination of football and war. And if you ever seen that George Carlin segment about how football and war are very similar, this song kind of takes on a whole new meaning. It can really go both ways, or it can just incorporate both. Maybe he was playing football and then went to the war. That happened before. Roger Staubach, Cowboys legend, Roger Staubach, Captain America. But yeah, those themes right there, whatever the case may be, whatever the song is like actually about, In this situation, it almost doesn't matter because you can totally interpret it as an anti-war song. That's how I've always interpreted it as, was just anti-war and just anti-establishment and all that stuff. But the song will fucking hammer you down. It will beat you senseless with every single back to the front that you hear. You feel like you're being ordered. You really feel like you're going to the back of the line and you're just waiting to die. You know, really listen to the lyrics of this song and it paints the picture for you. It really does. James is so incredible at doing that, and especially at so young of an age. He was just, his mind was so open, so forward thinking when it came to this stuff, not just for the lyrics, but also, you know, the actual riffs themselves. And then you got Lars joining in. I mean, just this, it's incredible work. It's just incredible work, and it's evidence of, you know, 4 master musicians just being incredible at their craft. And Disposable Heroes was always like the best example of everything great about Metallica. Loud bass, loud drums, loud everything, loud. Listen to the loud, I'm telling you. But yeah, Disposable Heroes, it's been my number one song, my number one Metallica song. Hold on, baby. It's been my number one Metallica song forever, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Next, we have Leper Messiah. I like the theme of Leper Messiah. Apparently, James and Lars, they were watching some televangelist on TV, and they thought the whole thing was just such bullshit and so hokey. You know the ones that I'm talking about. And that's kind of how this song came to be. The entire song, pretty much, almost, is in 6/4. Very interesting time signature for the whole thing. So those are the parts that I like about Leper Messiah, but I can live without it. I can definitely live without it. I'm not going to go as far to say that it's skippable on this record. You definitely got to keep it in there, but I'm not enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying other heavy hitters that are on this album. Leper Messiah just never really did it for me. I can appreciate the workmanship. I can appreciate the sounds. But just overall, definitely not my favorite when it comes to this record. Next, we have our instrumental from Master of Puppets. We have Orion. Let's talk about one Clifford Lee Burton. Not just one of the best bass players of all time, but just one of the best musicians to ever grace a guitar. This song right here was his last masterpiece that he showcased to the world before his unfortunate passing later on in 1986. It's such a fucking tragedy, and it's so unfair. This album wasn't even a year old before he passed, and just to think about all the ideas that he still had that we never got to hear, it really makes you appreciate the ones that he was able to put on display. And Orion is nothing short of divine. This is one of the most beautiful, not just instrumentals, but one of the most beautiful songs you will ever hear. I remember going up to my mom and dad talking about bass, and I had a hard time hearing bass like in songs. I never got the point of it all. My ears just wasn't fine-tuned at that point. And they told me, if you want to listen to bass, listen to Orion. And man, I had no idea what I was in for. It's amazing the sounds that we do hear on this record that come from a bass. It's the way that Cliff was able to just manipulate these tones and manipulate these sounds to get what he wanted to get. It's just pretty evident of how fucking genius this guy was. You got to remember that Cliff was responsible for a lot of different arrangements when it came to the music, more so like with the notes than the actual structure. Lars kind of had that down, Lars and James, but Cliff, just how he would accent these songs, or just, whole other parts that he would put in there entirely. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And on this song, and you're not going to hear a bass solo every day on every song, but this one has it, and it's awesome. It's just awesome. It feels like the entire song builds up to that point, and this entire song just feels like it builds, and then it kind of stays. into that middle part. That middle part reminds me of Master of Puppets so much, but it's beautiful. I have to get a fucking thesaurus because I've been saying beautiful for this whole album, but it really is. There's an aggressive beauty to this album, but with Orion, it's just straight up beautiful. I can't say enough good things about this song. I can't say enough good things about Cliff Burton, the man. He was the man. He really was, and he was the backbone, the glue that kept Metallica. I'm not gonna say kept them together because they obviously stayed together, but he really was the driving force from whenever they formed up to his passing. He kind of made Metallica what Metallica was back in the day, and I think that a lot of people that fell in love with Metallica, they fell in love with Cliff at first because he's undeniable. He's undeniable, whether he's playing or, whether you're watching him on stage, all that red hair just going absolutely fucking nuts. You cannot deny this man. You cannot deny his genius. You cannot deny Orion. It's just one of the greatest songs ever, and I love it. Rest in peace to Cliff Burton. And finally, we have our closer, Damage Inc., or Damage Incorporated, however you want to call it. It's a very fine ending to this album. I can't think of any other songs that would end this as correctly as Damage Inc. You put Damage Inc. anywhere else on this record, it really doesn't fit. It kind of had to be the closer. I used to jam the shit out of this song back in the day. I loved that intro. Again, we're talking about Cliff. Those are one of the accents I was talking about. Just that whole intro was him just fucking around with delays on the bass, different effects. This man was something else, man. He really was. Once the song actually kicks in, you get that bam, 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 ba-da-da, bam. Heavy as shit. One of the heaviest pieces of music you'll ever hear. It's very fast, very on brand with this album. It's right up there with Battery in terms of speed. As the whole, like the song as a whole, it's okay. It's all right. I enjoy it, but it's a case of just like what's coming before it, what's surrounding it. Is Damage Inc. gonna be top 15 favorite Metallica songs? Hey, for you, maybe. That's all right. For me, not so much. But it's a great closer. It's a great closer for Master of Puppets. A very fitting closer, and I think you can have fun with it. Either way, if it is the tail end of this album, or you just kind of found it one day and you want to give it a listen, maybe you thought the title was cool. And whatever the case may be, I think you're gonna enjoy this song, but I don't think you're gonna fall in love with it. But as a closer, hey man, no better way to end the album. That is Master of Puppets. All right, and that was Master of Puppets coming in at 54 minutes 52 seconds. I was actually kind of surprised that this album was under an hour, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is their last album that's under an hour to this day. To this day, they don't have a single album that's under 60 minutes that didn't come after Master of Puppets. So, Master of Puppets, what can I say? Now, I've already said so much. One of the most influential albums, one of the most successful albums. The fact that they didn't even have singles or music videos to push out to support this album, and they still got all the support in the world that they ended up getting back in the early days, is really mind-blowing. It's almost kind of a miracle in itself, but it's more of a showcase of how good this music is and how revolutionary it was at the time. When you hear people say nobody was making stuff like that, back in the mid-'80s, people really weren't. There was not a lot of people that was making this type of music at the level that they were making it. They were at the top of their game. Everybody involved, James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Kirk Hammett, and of course Cliff Burton, was just on another level, and they spent months. I think it was in Denmark. No, excuse me. It was in Denmark. In Copenhagen, yes. They spent months in Copenhagen, sleeping on the floor, just trying to get this shit done, and it was more than worth it. You say Master of Puppets to anybody, you're going to get some nods. You're going to get some devil horns. There's there's no negatives about this album that I can just think of off the top of my head. I would have to really nitpick. There's not even a lot of down moments. The only time that, you can really feel like a song is skippable is with Leper Messiah, but even then, it's still a good track. All of these songs are either good, great, or legendary. Legendary, especially for a couple of these tracks that they had to play. Every time that they were playing live, every time that they were on tour, they had to play Battery. They had to play Master of Puppets, all right? And then even with not playing Orion for as long as they did, whenever they finally started playing it, man, that sounded beautiful. The movie, Through the Never, has my favorite rendition of it. Whenever Lars comes in, it's really the bass that comes in first in the actual song, but in this rendition, Lars comes in with the drums. It's a little bit slower, but then Robert comes in with the bass, and good God. Good fuckity God. I love that part. It makes me, every time I hear that, it just makes me think like some galactic creature is standing over the world and is about to crush it in the palm of its hands. It's so daunting and on some levels terrifying whenever you think of that scale. That's kind of what Orion does for me. It just makes me put this album on a scale that's like no other. This album is just so huge in every which way imaginable, in sound and even visuals, the design, the album cover, one of the most iconic album covers of all time. A lot of people don't even recognize the fingers in the top left and right corner, the ones that are actually pulling the strings. There's always something to figure out with these album covers. And Master of Puppets, probably their best album cover. I don't think I'm breaking news there. And one of their best albums. If it's your number one album from Metallica, I have no argument there. Have no argument. I understand completely. It's just a fantastic record from a band that were doing amazing things and that were really coming into their own as musicians. It's not even up for debate. It's an amazing album. It's an amazing record. And I implore you, if you are going to listen to anything from Metallica, check out Master of Puppets. Whatever you do, check out Master of Puppets. I promise you will not regret it. So, where would Master of Puppets place on your list? Would you place it higher? Would you place it lower? Or would you take it off entirely? As always, let me know down below and stay tuned.